The streets are filled with new generation tuner cars like the Lexus F Sport that's super angry looking and long-nosed and domestically badass. Look at my neck, the joints are just good. A lot of angry cars out there. I can't feel my voice anymore. Angry, they're angry, all right? All the new cars are upset. Somebody kicked their dog. I don't know what happened, but they all got mad. Angry, they got rev matching, and they got the interior that finally doesn't look like my grandma Betty's basement, all right? It's weird.
Remember that, Betty?
Weird sofa, odd colors. The whole thing just didn't make sense. Not even the 80s it makes sense. I won't ever forget that. And even European cars like the Golf that for some reason can never just look bad are now turning angry as well. Everything's angry. But what about the KDM market? The 12 that are over there. That was a thing, or was, or is, I think. I'm Alex at FI on Instagram, and today we're gonna be talking about a car that's made Surf's Up waves feel like a kiddie pool, okay? A car that had real estate agents ecstatic that they didn't need to just go and buy the next typical 3 Series because they didn't want an Angry Birds looking ass car, all right? A car that kind of just like Sarah Palin just disappeared for a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be talking about you wanting to own the one, the only, the baby masterpiece, the Kia Stinger. And if you're just jumping into this video,
Hold on.
don't forget to
subscribe.
All right, and if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, and suspension for your newly acquired Kia Stinger or otherwise, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com. We have it all, including like blogs for the 12 people that still love to read. I mean, that's exciting, right? And if you're interested, we just launched our very own wheel company, Artisa Art Formed Wheels. Be sure to check it out over at artisawheels.com or check it out over at fitmentindustries.com. We're really excited about that, and we hope that you can share the support with us as we launch the brand in 2021. Talking about the Kia Stinger, we need to take it back to the days of old. Approximately 9 of them to be exact. The Kia Stinger was introduced at the Frankfurt Auto Show and was raved by designers that were baffled at Kia's ability to make an executive sports saloon. Kia had been making money all the way leading up to the introduction of the Kia Stinger because of the fact that they were introducing cars at a very strong price point that made a lot of domestic car manufacturers angry. I mean, I know a lot of people have forgotten about Kia Hyundai, but they haven't exactly been sleeping. They made decent cars like the Elantra, the Genesis, the Tiburon, all right? But the Stinger was something special. It was designed by Kia's European studio, but engineered by the former BMW M Vice President of Engineering, Albert Biermann. That's why it looks the way that it does. Pocket pick right there for Kia, all right? To tie the idea of quality, performance, styling without the other thing that usually comes along with a BMW car, which is piles of change, was pretty damn tough, especially for Kia. Kia had the additional difficulty of trying to design a car that didn't look much like the competition, and this is what came out of that conversation. If you ever wondered why Kia looks the way that it does, it's because they really didn't want it to look like anything else. It wasn't terrible, it's just kind of interesting. It's like Dakota's suit coat. You really just don't know what to do. He just yells taco ding dong, but you're wondering really where he got it. But according to one of the chief designers, the Stinger was partially inspired by the Coca-Cola bottle. Soft, sensual, curves in all the right areas. You know what I'm saying? Look at the bottle, look at the shape, look at the car, look at it all together. Look at a Coca-Cola Kia Stinger. That's all true. Built for being a Gran Turismo, the body lines feature longer strokes than harsh edges. It's soft and sleek versus angles and parallelograms, all right? To Kia, they wanted to make it all a part of the journey and focus more on the overt physical appearance of the whole car versus just small, angular, angry pieces, all right? I don't know if that's true, but it's damn good marketing. The Stinger would steal and shorten the Hyundai Genesis's front engine rear-wheel drive setup with some extra metal for weight distribution and offer either 2-liter turbocharged with 250 ponies or a twin-turbo V6 with 365 horses, all right? Ponies for the sub 300 and horses for above 300. It's a lot of horsepower, actually. But it wasn't only horsepower that made the car special. There's also technological advancements that put the car on the map. Coming from Kia, this is insane, all right? You see, Kia was and has been a brand that promises you that you get value for your money. If you look at any Kia ever, it's always been about that. And you could jump into one of the Kias that looked pretty good for not a lot of cash. It's not the cheapest, but it was like a $10 bucket from KFC. You got a lot of value from buying a Kia. So when they introduced the Kia Stinger, they wanted to keep the price below $50,000, even with a chunk of options like their advanced driving assistance system package and all of that. Kia wanted the everyday owner to feel like they weren't jumping into a Panamera abyss of repairs and reliability issues. So then on top of all the tech, Kia slapped a 100,000-mile powertrain warranty on top of it. So Kia was beginning to provide a long-nosed, aggressive Grand Tourer that had mid-300s for horsepower, all-wheel drive, a decent warranty, and wasn't terrible to look at to boot. The interior had some pieces that looked legit, but really didn't have the same cost association. Like it was leather, but it wasn't really leather. The interior bits were metal, kind of, but you just had to take it as you will because you were buying a Kia, all right? You got all of that, but you didn't get the Porsche Panamera unreliability-ness of it, okay? But that was expected from a car that Kia wanted to provide the people with an option that wasn't six figures. And even though the Stinger is only in its terrible twos, the car has already been bitten by the bug of car enthusiasts, all right? Because the Stinger would come in the GT line, which had a turbocharged 4-cylinder. You had the GT, GT1 trims, or you had the GT2 trim and the twin turbo V6. With the climbing onslaught of technology and comfort packages, people started just to get with these different trims. It literally was a car that really started to check all the boxes and dot all the I's that you could go and have fun with and then go still fit the Aldi's groceries in the back. The car was set up for success. But we're not here to talk about the history of a car that's only 2 years old. You want that? Go watch Toonami. All right, I missed that. That was a good time. I watched Inuyasha at like midnight. We're here to talk about the Porsche in sheep's clothing. The car that's like has people thinking, wait, that's a Kia car, all right? The car that for some ungodly known reason always has a rattly ass trunk. If you've ever sat in one, you know what I'm talking about. So you want a Kia Stinger. Well, set down your K-pop and grab your favorite League of Legends plushie because we're about to talk about what it's like to actually own a luxury Grand Tourer KDM. If you're looking to jump into a Kia Stinger, there's two major things that you're gonna wanna keep in mind. Grab your pencil or pen, 0.7. You're buying a KDM with 360 horsepower. It's a Grand Tourer, but it's still only $30,000. So there's gonna be a couple Doug DeMuro quirks and features with your Kia Stinger that you're gonna wanna get used to, okay? Probably the most notable is the fact that not everything is what it seems on the Kia. The parts and pieces of the interior are made to look like one thing, but they're actually made of another. You also can start to see where some of the cost savings went into the car to provide you with all of the fancy technology and horsepower and motor. You're gonna wanna understand that as you jump into these cars because it's going to be a real big letdown if you're not prepared for it. If you're okay with that and you're okay with a little noise, okay with a little STI rattle, then you're gonna be okay with the Kia Stinger. In addition to that, we're all still in the honeymoon phase a bit with the car, with it actually being so new. I mean, when we even started to look at it, it was shocking to only see them be 2-3 years old and they just seem to disappear.
Here's what I mean.
For $1,100, you can make your Kia Stinger a 450 horsepower sedan that can take on the likes of the M3 and the AMG Sport. However, we're only 2 years in and the honeymoon phase can really mess with you here, all right? We know that in the last 2 years, we've already begun to see Stingers age a little bit quicker than most. Typical thing to happen, all right? Here's what I mean by that when it comes to like the honeymoon phase. They've aged a little bit quicker than the rest, all right? In addition, they've also experienced some use issues with the car. Rotors are likely the biggest culprit that'll have issues due to the weight and the sports suspension setup. This car eats their own rotors, all right? The trunk actually does rattle a bit and it can be a little bit annoying. The leather can and does fade and the design work is already showing a little bit of aging. It's maybe a little bit too contemporary, all right? They also have more warnings and systems than Tutorial Island that just prevents you from doing too much hoonigan stuff. Like it's almost too much or overtly conservative in what it wants you to do. And it's just the way that it is. It's what makes part of this car a Grand Touring that in Kia's eyes are needed. But that's where some people may get it wrong with the Kia Stinger. Can you slam it on the ground? The answer, my good friends, is absolutely. Put it on some H&R lowering springs or air suspension and you'll have some cars sitting proper. I'd recommend slamming it on the ground with air suspension, just my opinion. But you can put lowering springs. Wheels, easy. Do some big old thin Rohanas, some Veligans, or some Ferratas, all right? Depending on the trim, you've got some decent Brembos and some nice looking calipers to boot as long as they don't vibrate. Tires, cross climates if you're in 2021 and you want to feel cool and you want something that can get you around in the wintertime. However, a decent all season or winter summer setup and you have a good car that can do just about everything. In my opinion, if you're up north, I'd recommend getting some all seasons or getting some winter tires on your stockers and then get some nice summer tires on your aftermarket. But it's a new car. It's a car that Kia built to offer as much as possible without overpricing it. And because of that, the car will experience some of the classic KDM issues over time. Genesis is redefining that, so we may see that change, but the Stinger will likely have some of the same bits and pieces that that start to not operate as well as they should because it's a Kia, and you want to be okay with that. The car is meant to provide a driving experience for the working man or woman. It's meant to do everything seamlessly without aggression. It was meant to show the world that Kia could do something outside of the box, all right, and keep it reliable. Through the external designs of the Germans and the time taken on producing a motor that could do good power without ruining reliability in the 8-speed automatic, it does cross a ton of the boxes. The modification scene for the car also exists, but it's just not as large yet. The car is reliable for the time being. The car is fun as long as you're okay with jumping into the unknown. There's just a lot of unknown with this car. The thing to remember is this: when you're picking up a Kia Stinger, you're picking up a car that's just looking to be a good conservative car in all of the different ways that you'd want it for. Like, it tries to do it all without breaking on you, but still kind of being like the edgy kid. Like, it gives you all of the horsepower, but it's not gonna actually allow you to use all of it because the tech and systems aren't allowing you to potentially break the car. That's why it came with the mileage warranty that it did. That's why it came with a lot of the safety standards that it did. That's why it came with a lot of the backup from Kia as it did, because it offered all of this, but it offered it with very tight thresholds in terms of ever allowing you to potentially break it. And that's why you can take a little bit of money, throw it into the car, get mid 400s for horsepower, have a tootin' hot time, but you're also going to experience likely the reason why they gave you those thresholds so much. And it's probably because the car may not be able to support that horsepower. But what do you think about the Kia Stinger? In my eye, I thought it was cool. And then they just disappear. I don't see them as much anymore. It'd be nice to see them more. And if you have one, drop it in the gallery, fitmentindustries.com. If you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com, where we have everything you could possibly imagine. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later. Peace.